Hello everyone, in this video, we will discuss the current situation, whether we are seeing a rebound now, and to what prices it can continue. So let's start with the fact that in the previous video, I assumed growth in the form of a rebound for at least all cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. At the same time, for Bitcoin, even without updating this LOI, it was possible to search for long positions here. Unfortunately, this drain occurred at night, but who did not sleep, in principle, according to the logic of the entrance, which I have repeatedly shown. It was possible to try positions not only on Bitcoin, but also on Bitcoin at the fractures of 100. In the previous video, I also noted and emphasized the link coin and the fact that I will take a long for this coin. If you look at the local situation, then here at the turning point, I would also look towards the long position. If we see a sharp payback, we can enter long with a stop for a new play. Personally, I will try to consider long precisely by the link coin because right now I like it the most. As you can see, the hypothesis worked well here. That is, immediately after the fracture, they received a payoff. Here it was possible to enter the long, but to be honest, I personally did not enter because this drain occurred at night at 1 o'clock in the morning and I was sleeping then. But those who entered the long here did not make mistakes because the long was quite reasonable while the stop was very short. Is it worth entering Langi at the current marks on the outgoing train? I believe that by no means not, because the reasonable entry point was only here and the stop was really short. Now the stop should also be behind this level, so it is very low. And those who don't have a position, it's better to just wait. And now let's try to figure out to what prices this rebound can continue. Specifically for the link coin, there was a conservative target at the level of 629, that is, the removal of all these liquidity floors. This goal was achieved literally on the same day, that is, today. And where it can grow further, it is already difficult to say. Who had langs, here in any case, it was necessary to fix part of the position. So far, we can note this level, it's 6.6, and the most optimistic goal at the moment is a retest of the mirror level 6,933. Let's see if the growth continues. If we talk about an attempt to enter long, then of course, only on correction. And here, you can select this order block. It has not been tested, that is, level 6073. If there is such a correction, you can try a long stop for this level, but there is less risk to lay down here than positions here, because the entry point was very good here. At the same time, the main goal for growth has already been fulfilled. Now, the link also looks good, but in fact, it is on local AA, and I would definitely not look at the langs at current prices. Well, from the stage to the short, also at the moment there is no. But now let's move on to Bitcoin. We have a similar situation here. At the same time, we did not update this layer. This is quite normal. This LOI was enough for us. And then, according to the same logic, again, after returning to this level, it was possible to try an aggressive long position. But, as I noted earlier, the link coin was much more profitable in terms of the flight profit ratio. And in fact, it turned out that way. That is, the entry point on the link is much more profitable because the stop is closer than on Bitcoin. If we talk about the goals for growth, which in my understanding has not ended at the moment, specifically on Bitcoin and accordingly on all other cryptocurrencies in general, this is the level of 26,313, that is, the removal of this high, which implies the removal of all these floors of liquidity. And at the moment, we also have a hint that the growth is not ending right now, because we have formed a triple equal high. This is a fairly strong formation that often gathers. Therefore, it is logical to assume that growth will continue at least to the level of 26,315. And after this level, you can look closely at the charts if there is some kind of reversal pattern, or the growth will continue, especially if we have some kind of powerful balance movement. It's not clear yet, and personally, I am out of position because I only considered the Monia link, but also did not enter this position. There is no need to get upset. In no case do you need to run into the last car. If you try long, then only on the link correction. I indicated approximate levels for Bitcoin. We had the same one in the block, and it has already been tested at the moment. Moreover, if we consider the long from this zone, then the stop is still quite low. Therefore, if we consider some longs, then, in my understanding, it is better to take a closer look at the Kalkin. Specifically for Bitcoin, I would not single out an entry point. That is, even if there is a correction, this LOI can be safely updated. That is, we can go somewhere lower. From here the growth can continue. Accordingly, here, I would follow the reversal patterns and limit orders in advance did not enter the position, because the market is now heavy and at any moment it can roll away. But at the moment, I think that the growth will continue at least here. More optimistic goals are above this that's 2730. In fact, here we will have a deviation of the current sidewall. And here it will also be possible to look closely at short positions. If we see a rehash, a return and fixing of a fringe with a stop for a new high. But for now, we need to monitor the market. A more optimistic goal, also noted in the previous video, is 28,600. This is the mark where Bitcoin is also bound to come. And here, most players in the market will have the opportunity to go out at no loss if they bought Bitcoin for $28,000. As I did, that is, strictly according to plan, I strengthened my position on Bitcoin on the spot in the past. The previous purchase was in the area of $25,000, about which he also spoke and did not record it. Let me remind you that I plan to fix all my positions at the moment above $33,000, and it doesn't matter where we fall. In the previous video, I also noted potential targets for continuing the decline if it happens. That's 22,600. And here, I am also ready to consider a purchase, and at the moment, I do not consider Bitcoin below $19,000 until it comes above $33,000. That's it for Bitcoin. Let's move on to the dollar index, because this is the most important tool in the market, and the wild pile still can't turn around. In every video, I'm waiting for the same U-turn. Also allowed it at this mark. There was a good reversal cartridge here. It was not confirmed. We broke through this ploy, and in fact, it was already not bad for a reversal. But here we showed a quick reaction to return to this level, so we see two more new moves. And at the moment there are again prerequisites for a reversal, and I'm just watching. It has not been confirmed yet, but in the medium term, I still expect a good correction in the dollar index in this zone. But it is desirable, of course, to go beyond this low. And if such a decline occurs, of course, it is positive for all markets. But in the long term, there is no positive here. The dollar index is going at least 109 points. This is the minimum goal. Of course, here we will see the deepest correction in all markets. I don't know when it will happen, but I hope it will be after $33,000, when it will be absolutely irrelevant to me. At the same time, this zone is a conservative goal, easily achievable, which will be in any case. But personally, I consider moving and hiking much higher. Next, let's move on to altcoin. Let's start with the Nearcoin. Let me remind you that I made a spot packing exactly at this break on a limit order. And let's look at the local situation, whether there was a good reversal of the ring coin type here. In fact, there is not such an obvious reversal here, because the link updated this low and looked very nice. Here we have updated only local pools, and it was also possible to enter the long here, but the link, you must agree, looks much more beautiful. But in fact, the world also got a rebound. Here we formed an order block, which was immediately tested, and the link went above this high, also coming to a conservative goal like the link coin. A huge number of magnets have been left on top. In the average time, I think we will get there, but it is not clear from the current marks. The next target for the current growth, if it continues, is at the level of $1 and $3. Here I would look at short positions, at least for the purpose of correction, if some pattern forms. At the moment, I would not enter into any positions. In my understanding, the ideal entry point has already been, and at the moment, it simply does not exist. Any entry points with a much greater risk than entering here with a stop for this low. Next, the DOT coin. Not everything is so obvious here, because DOT did not remove this low while dropping low enough, and it was also dangerous to lang here. And looking at all the charts now, it's obvious that link was the best choice. But specifically, it is important to note that the conservative goal has not been achieved. It is above this high at 456. Therefore, the DOT suggests that there is a high probability that the rebound on the current growth is not over. We will go at least to this zone. A more optimistic target is at levels 4 and 8. Next, the Ether coin. As with Bitcoin, we did not shoot low, which we also assumed in the previous video. There was also a dangerous situation for lang here, because the break was made very low, and as soon as we returned beyond this level, the stop was already far enough away. Therefore, again, in comparison with the link coin, Ether did not look so obvious, not so confident, and with much more risk. At the same time, the conservative goal for the Ether, in my understanding, is above these Ks. This is $1,700, respectively. For Bitcoin, it is $26,317. And thus, we can conclude that with a high probability, the growth is not over, and we will still go higher. But I would not be looking for a long position, I repeat, because the ideal entry point was already at night, when most of the players in the market were asleep. Therefore, it can also be concluded that it is worth going to bed a little later. Next, the Atom coin. Here too, there is a very dangerous U-turn near Loya, and it was, of course, scary to wang here. Nevertheless, growth has occurred. The local reversal pattern is not bad, but this low is as annoying as possible, and with a high probability it will be demolished. Therefore, most likely this rebound, this growth, will end with a fracture specifically on the Atom coin. At the same time, at the moment the growth is rather weak. Here, we see how the price is testing this order, the block that formed the reversal. And in theory, the movement should continue. But specifically the atom is different from other instruments. And if other altcoins have conservative, easily achievable goals, then there is no such atom, because there is no liquidity pool. At the same time, only these levels can be noted, and they are quite high. Therefore, in my understanding, it is also very dangerous to long over the atom, specifically compared to the link coin, and it is difficult to say where it will grow with the current rebound. Optimistically, we can note the level of 826, but where the conservative goal is absolutely not clear, and the level of 7 and 9 is quite high. And for such growth, in my understanding, the entire market must grow above the conservative target. That is, Bitcoin may go above 26,317, and in this case, we will see an atom above this level. It is difficult to say how this rebound will end in all markets. You just need to observe the market situation. We have goals at the top until they are achieved, and only above these goals, it is necessary to draw certain conclusions. At the moment, everything looks like continued growth. Next, the coin is sold, and here the situation is much more attractive than on other altcoins. That is, just like on the link coin, we made a break of this level and immediately formed a good reversal pattern, even locally. At the same time, we have a block order, which unfortunately has not been tested. It would be very cool if growth continued from this level, because at the moment, there is a chance to test this zone. That is 2029. And now everything looks good. Solana has a huge amount of liquidity floors. In fact, the target should be here. That is 2236. Let's see if the Solana will grow to these levels, and what will happen, and if we really find ourselves at these values. At the same time, in the medium term, as well as for the link coin, the chart looks good. That is, at the drain of the entire market, this tool, like the link, came to the support zone, where it is logical to make sweat purchases. Personally, I am not considering any purchases on the slate because I have huge positions on other alt Bitcoins. And instead of the SLAN, I chose the link coin because the goals from above, that is above 9 and 6. The face is much more obvious than the 38 SLAN. It's hard to believe so far, and I'm not ready to buy off the elephants. And I think that if Solana somehow miraculously grows beyond these levels, then the link should definitely cost 9 and 6. Next is the coin, and there was also no obvious reversal here, because we left a very dubious low here. At the same time, I will remind you about the support zone. Here, which is not tested, it is 0.51. Therefore, MX does not look confident and does not give strong clues what is happening right now. So far, the maximum is a rebound, and most likely we will still see a feather of this level. If you look closely at the local situation, there is also no quite confident obvious reversal. I definitely wouldn't try long here if I were in the market. The conservative goal is above these haze. This is 0.56, and, accordingly, very close. The movement is quite small, so for now we are just watching the X. We can single out a more optimistic goal for the removal of this high 0.58, but somehow it looks very ugly. But in fact, I'm going to watch for now. Well, in the end, let's look at the APTOS coin. And this tool looked good when turned around. That is, we remove a significant visible level for all players in the market, and then make a beautiful reversal pattern. That is, breaking through this level here, we break the structure, and with an imbalance, and forming an order block here, which by the way, has not been tested. Please note that many altcoins still have a similar level. On APTOS, that's 577. And there is a possibility that we can still go to this level. From here, you can try a long stop for this level, but you should understand that the main growth has already occurred. Accordingly, if such a decrease occurs, it is necessary to lay a lower risk here. Conservative goals have also been practically achieved for autos, that is, above 598. And so far, I would not single out any other goals. In general, now we are coming to this resistance zone, and I would not consider any positions for APTOS while we just observe. This video comes to an end. Do not forget to subscribe to the Telegram channel